Welcome back to This Old House here in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Today we're going to see our house completely opened up
This is the best part of the first floor.
and say goodbye to a failing old tree.
This tree had to go.
And we'll see the house that inspired the design for our project.
Looks pretty bad right here.
Are you kidding me?
Is this place really worth saving?
We could do better than this.
Time to get to work. Nice and easy, everybody together.
Oh, yeah! The right plant in the right place.
Good.
It's state-of-the-art. Perfectly square.
All in all, a good day's work.
Right here in this old house. Hey, Tommy.
Hey, Kevin, how are you?
You know, I'm doing great. It's a warm spring day, the flowers, the trees are all in bloom. The city's never looked better.
I know, it does look nice, doesn't it?
You just got one problem.
What's that?
This. Hey, what's with this? You got a dump truck in the front yard.
Hey, that's what I do.
It is what you do, isn't it? All right, well, it's a busy job site, so what are you working on today?
Well, we got a lot of work to do inside the house, but there's quite a bit of work to do outside the house, so we're prepping for that. I'm getting ready to set up some scaffolding.
Okay, but inside it's mostly demo today?
Mostly demo, we got a lot done. You want to take a look?
I do, yeah.
What do you think, huh?
Tommy, you weren't kidding when you said these guys are making some progress.
Oh, they're doing a great job.
Boy, it's been a long time since we've taken a house this far back to the studs, but that's what these guys are doing, huh?
They sure are. It's a gut job, but it's a gentle gut job. It's a deconstruction in the beginning. In other words, they're going to save the flooring, they're going to save the trim, they're going to save whatever they can save so they can reuse it or resell it. And then once they get down to the part where we don't care about anything, then they rip the plaster off the wall and clean out the house.
And so what about the studs? Are these going to stay or are these going to go?
Well, this is a bearing wall, so this is going to stay. But look at this right here. This is where the phrase a 2x4 comes. This is a rough sawn, full dimensional 2x4.
Yeah.
You don't see those anymore.
No, and so the bearing wall stays, and what about partition walls that aren't carrying any weight?
Well, that's going to open up because they're going to make the kitchen the front of the house.
Really?
Yeah. So this part, one of the plans is to think about putting a table here so they can sit in the bay window while they're
Nice
eating.
spot, yeah.
Another thought is to take out this window and put the stove over here, and a big island will go in here. So if the big island's going to go in here, this has to get all opened up. So guess what has to come down?
Chimney?
Chimney's coming
All the way
down.
through the roof?
All the way through the roof.
3 stories, huh? Well, you know what? I'm seeing an army of guys right here. Who's taking it out?
Don't worry, you're not going to take it down. The deconstruction guys are going to take it down piece by piece. Because if they can save any of the brick and they come out nice and clean, they can be resold.
I like deconstruction more and more.
Yeah, I knew you would. I can see that the chimney above the roof line is not the original chimney.
How can you tell that?
Well, it's a newer brick, and they're taking it apart with a demolition hammer. If it was the original chimney, they could almost take it apart by hand.
So the new mortar's a lot harder?
The new mortar's a lot harder. It has more Portland in it.
So do you think we could use those bricks with that hard mortar on it?
I don't think so. The brick that's going in the dump truck is not going to go to the landfill. It's going to get ground up and reused. Now we're at the roof line. You can see the color of the brick has changed and the mortar is a lot softer. They're pulling them apart by hand.
So we'll probably be able to reuse these.
Oh, absolutely.
So Tommy, with about 1/4 of the chimney down, this is the pile that we have to show for it. So these are bricks we might be able to reuse?
Well, these are all the bricks that were inside the walls, and they really are nice and clean, so somebody's going to be able to resell these.
Oh yeah, I know just the guy. All of the salvaged materials from our project, from that pile of bricks to the windows, the doors, the plumbing fixtures, They've all come here to Springfield, Massachusetts, and to this facility, which is part salvage yard, part retail operation. It's run by John Grossman. And John, it looks like you have grown quite a bit since the last time we worked together.
Yeah, we're almost 4 times the size of what we used to be.
Really?
Yeah, when we outgrew our other building, we knew that we wanted to find something older and do a deep energy retrofit on it, really fit our mission.
And that's the building we're looking at here. And what's with this entryway? It looks like you're sort of just hitting the customers over the head with what they can do with these old materials.
Well, we knew we needed a vestibule for energy efficiency. And our architect, Karen Brous, said, why don't we put mixed siding on the side of the building, because sometimes you guys get small lots like that.
So we got slate up there, cement siding right here.
Yep.
And then the glass?
Yeah. These are orphan sliders, so sometimes we got onesies or they don't have a frame, and they fit the energy efficiency of it because they're double pane,
Sure.
and they give us lots of beautiful light.
Yeah, works well.
Yeah. Up here is black locust, and that's a weed tree that we actually harvested off the property here when we reclaimed it for the parking lot, and we had it milled into these boards.
Very nice. And so what about the materials you got from our project? Have they arrived yet?
Yeah, some of it's on the floor right now, and a lot of it's still in our receiving area.
Let's have a look.
Yeah, great. So Kevin, here are the radiators from your job.
I recognize them. Glad to see that they made it.
Yep, along with these plumbing fixtures. This is a sweet little vanity that somebody's going to enjoy, and a nice vintage sink. The house, as you know, had been remodeled a few times, so we got sort of the full spread of product from it.
Good haul for you guys.
Yeah, and it's all here in this receiving area. This room is the same size as the entire other store was.
And so how do you account for that growth in business? I mean, you're saying almost fourfold in a short amount of time. What's going on?
It's awareness. You know, we used to have to go and do a lot of outreach or harvest the materials ourselves.
Yeah.
And now demo contractors, homeowners, they all know that there's an alternative to just throwing things away, that they can be salvaged for reuse, and that's how we account for the uptick. And now we just have to create a great retail place for them to shop at.
What's going on out here?
Yeah. So our lighting department is a really great example of how we can handle more material since we've expanded. We used to have kind of jumbly shelves. Now we can spread everything out. We've got slat wall and hanging chandeliers. It's really a great part of the expansion.
So how important is this to the customer to be able to see 4 matching lights all on display?
Now we've got room to spread them out, and people can see it and really respect the value of the materials.
Makes a difference, right?
Yeah.
And you've got lighting next to kitchen sections. Every section's easy to find because, you know, the signage. I mean, this is not a salvage yard experience.
We wanted to create the most accessible experience that we could for people. So if you're used to shopping in a store that only has new product, you're going to come in here, you're going to feel comfortable, you're going to be able to find everything that you're looking for.
Looks like your plumbing department has grown too.
Yeah, like the rest of the store. Now we can keep all kinds of varieties on the shelves, drop-in sinks and pedestals, even hot pink sinks.
And the market for hot pink sinks, I mean, is this going to sell?
It will eventually. You know, now we can keep it on the shelves until the right customer comes along for it.
And then what about used plumbing materials? I mean, is there a right customer for someone's old tub?
Well, this is actually new old inventory. So,
new old?
Yeah, a manufacturer just never ever sold it, but it's brand new. It's never been used.
All right, well, you know what? I think new old is more my style than hot pink.
Well, we've got it all here for you. So something else that's new for us is that we're distributing other people's recycled products. Like this paint over here is a great partnership with a couple of interior designers who had been recycling paint on their own, sort of making boutique flavors for people.
So when you say recycling paint, you're saying I've got a half can of this, a half can of that on the weekend, I return those, and these guys take it and mix it?
Exactly. It's a huge waste product, and what they've done is created a very low-tech way to consistently come up with these colors for us. They'll do any color we want, and we have about 20 colors here.
And they look like real paint cans. That stuff's great.
So some of the things that we have here now, they're not used or old. They're just things that we know our customers are interested in, like rain barrels and composters, because we attract people who are interested in a sustainable lifestyle.
And maybe the bricks from our job site just showing up. Is that our old chimney?
It was. You know, you may see a chimney there, but our customers probably see a patio or a garden edging or something like that.
We probably do.
Yeah.
All right, well, it looks to me like business is booming, so congratulations. And we're really happy that you found a place for our old house.
Great, let's do it again.
Hey, we'd love to. First, there was a dump truck in the front yard, and now there is a chipper in the backyard, which can only mean one thing. Hey, Roger.
Means the Norway maple's coming down today.
All right, well, you've told me that before. You said it's not doing so well, and it's kind of at the end of its life, but I'll tell you, it looks pretty good to me.
Well, if you look at that foliage in the top of this tree, there should be 2 to 3 times more leaves. So that tells me it's not in great shape.
Okay.
And we have that big structural damage over here. This tree is going to come down on its own someday. We want to take it down now before the patio goes in, the house is all refinished. This tree could cause a lot of damage if it comes down.
And by we, you mean you and Jack Kelly, who we've worked with in the past. Hey, Jack.
Hey, Kevin, how are you?
All right, so I see a small lot, a big tree, and I don't see a crane. Wouldn't that be the usual choice of equipment?
A daily crane would be appropriate for this job, but because of the narrowness of this property and the street, we decided to use the aerial lift.
All right, let's see it.
So what we're doing here right now is we're taking smaller branches down, create an avenue for the bucket truck to get up there safely so he can lower the trees to the ground.
Right. It's about working fast, but it's about working fast and safe. All the guys have helmets on, eyes and ear protection. Every piece of safety equipment they need, they have to do the job right.
So now we're using a lowering line. So we're going to tie off the branches and lower them to the ground.
Big branches floating down, just like you promised.
What I love, as soon as it hits the ground, the guys untie it right in the chipper, and the whole area is clean and safe to work in. Kevin, in this case, they're going to use 2 lines to lower the piece.
Why 2?
Basically, one is to lower the branch, and the other one is called a tag line that's going to redirect the branch away from the house.
I'm glad he had that second line on.
Pretty slick system, huh? What do you think? 4 or 5 more cuts?
4 or 5 more cuts, Roger, and we'll be out of here.
So what happens to the larger logs here?
The larger wood is actually going to be picked up with a log loader. It's going to be delivered to a greenhouse where it's used for an alternative heating source.
So he grinds it up, burns the chips. What a great recycling story. And that takes care of our Norway maple.
It sure does. All right. Nice job, guys. Thank you, Jack.
Well done. Thank you.
With our tree down and the chimney that used to run right through the center of the house gone, it is time to start thinking about how we're going to rebuild this space. And to help us think through that, we've asked our architects, Marcus and Robin, to join us. Hi, guys.
Hey, how you doing?
Well, thank you. So you've got some tools here, computers, some drawings. Walk us through what you're thinking about for this home.
Well, the original house was shotgun.
And by shotgun, you're saying narrow, long.
Yeah, the formal parlor or living room was in the front.
Up here, right?
The dining room was in the middle, a separate space,
Yeah.
and through a door, the kitchen was in the back.
And that's the layout we had on both floors here until you and Tommy showed up.
Yeah, until we showed up and made a mess. What we've done is actually to flip things around. We're actually going to put the kitchen in the front of the house.
And we can see that represented here on your drawings. Kitchen right here, and then this large island next to a dining table.
Yeah, and the living room is going to be all the way in the back.
And it's a much more open space now that this partition wall is gone.
Yeah, it's like a big loft.
It is a little unusual to me, though, to think of the kitchen being up front here. I mean, this is the most public part of the house. We are right on the street.
Yeah, but it's actually the best part of the house. I mean, for a lot of reasons. We spend a lot of time in our kitchens today, and when you're here, you can have a cup of coffee in the corner. You can look out the window.
And the clients really like the idea when we presented it to them about interacting with their neighbors.
Okay, but if we put the kitchen in the best part of the house, does that sort of by definition mean that the living room is going to be relegated to kind of a back corner of the house?
Yeah, this space is really great. One thing about this part of the house, it's narrower here, so the garden is wider.
Right.
And what we're going to do is open up the family room to the garden itself by replacing this wall with a lot of glass.
You can see that in this 3D model that we've used.
Homeowners love being able to kind of walk through these models, and I can see your wall of glass right there.
Yes, we have 3 big windows and then a door on the side with access to the garden.
Okay, and this allows us to fly through these models?
That's right. So if we move to our left,
oh, wow. Look at that.
you standing at the entrance of the living room from the dining room, you can see the hutch on your left,
Sure.
the dining room table.
Actually, all the way back to those front windows.
That's
and so this
right.
little card table right here is where you expect the dining table is going to be.
That's right. Standing at the head of the table, you can see the 2 windows ahead in the bay that the table is centered on, the window on the right, and then the whole kitchen really opens up to your left.
All right, so can you walk me through some of the amenities of the kitchen? How does this get laid out?
Sure. So there's the big island. The cooktop is over on the right, and you can even look out the window while you're cooking.
Okay. And then I pick up the 2 windows in the front bay here as another view.
There's 2 chairs. And then if you are sitting at these 2 chairs, and you can look all the way back to the living room and the fireplace beyond.
And actually see how these rooms actually all communicate with each other. But when I look at this image here on the computer, I see surfaces that are very flat and, forgive me, maybe even a little stark. Is that the look you're going for? I know our homeowner Sally's Swedish, you're Swedish, and you guys are trying for a Scandinavian modern look. Is that what it is?
Well, the 3D model is kind of a cartoon, and it doesn't have all the detail or richness that you would really see in experience of space. So to help out, we have a concept board that has a bunch of images that embody some of the principles of what we call Scandinavian design.
Such as?
Well, one is like really clean, crisp volumes warmed up by natural wood, a very simple and organized geometry, and also splashes of color and beautifully handcrafted objects.
Okay.
But the best thing to do is to see the real thing, and we have a house in the neighborhood that we recently finished that we should go look at.
I would love to go look at it.
Let's go.
Hi, Sally.
Hi, Kevin. Hi, Marcus.
Hi, Sally.
So I hear that this is the house that started it all for you and John.
It is. Before we bought our house, we looked at this house and we fell in love with it. We loved everything about it.
Great.
So we made an offer on this house and we ended up in a bidding war, which we lost.
Oh, no.
So we didn't get the house. But a week later, we found our house and we thought it had a lot of potential and that we could do something similar to what we saw here.
Okay.
So we wanted to find out who the architect was for this house, and that brought us to Marcus.
All right, so you lost the house, but you found an architect.
Good for me.
I guess so. And so what did it look like when you got your hands on it, Marcus? Because you've obviously done a lot of work to it.
Well, when we started, it was a gray 2-family.
Yeah.
It had a 2-story porch that had been glassed in with triple tracks.
Yeah.
So we did 3 things to update the exterior. First, we rebuilt the porch and enclosed the upper part of it. We replaced and reinvented a lot of the arts and crafts details that have been lost over the years.
Right.
And we came up with a really lively paint scheme to brighten the house on the outside.
So that's a lot of changes to the exterior. How were you able to do that? Are we in or out of the historic district that our house is in?
Well, we're just outside of the district that
okay.
John and Sally's house is in.
Right.
So we had a lot more flexibility in doing what we did.
Well, there's some big changes, and I mean, the outside looks great. And as I see this new landscaping, you know, a new walk, and maybe if you guys rebuilt your porch, you can see how the outside of your house is going to look pretty good too.
Yeah, we're excited about the possibilities, but you've got to come see the inside because that's my favorite part of this house.
That's the part you fell in love with, isn't it?
It is. The first thing that caught our attention in this house is the very wide staircase.
The staircase.
We love it. We love how wide it is, and we also love the openness of it.
Okay.
And then the modern banister really caught our attention.
Well, it's clearly not the staircase that was original to the house, Marcus. So how
No.
big of a renovation did you guys do here?
Oh, it was a complete gut.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the original layout was a warren of tiny little rooms with 2 separate winding staircases, like your house.
Something else we love in here is the wood ceiling and the way that it helps to define the living room as a separate space from the rest of the open floor plan.
And we also picked up another 10 inches of ceiling height by replacing the ceiling joist with 2 beams, some purlins, and structural deck.
Right.
And combined with what Sally said, really creates a very distinct space.
Which is important when you've got an open floor plan.
Something else that we love is the wall of windows that looks out on this patio.
And Marcus, you were just talking about this back at our house. You want to do something similar like this back in that living room area, right?
Yeah, we have a lot of glass. We're using the same kind of window with double hungs, 2/2 with a flat casing. Made with a 1x3 combined with a backband.
And this is just the kind of detail that didn't really come through in your computer rendering, so I'm glad I'm seeing it here in person.
Absolutely.
And also to see, you know, how open this floor plan is. I mean, you can see right through this house. You and John want this amount of openness.
We do. We really like the open floor plan. One thing that will be different in our house is they have a cherry floor here. We want to use either a birch or maple floor, something lighter.
Okay.
They do that a lot in Sweden.
So you're going for the full Swedish package.
That's right.
All right. Well, this kitchen's in the back of the house. Yours is going to be up front. But are there other cues that you've taken from this room?
Well, they have the big peninsula here, and we want to have a big island in our house, and we're going to also have a wood countertop.
Right.
And we always like to try and put either the cooktop or the sink in the island. That enables the cook to be engaged with everything that's going on in the dining area and the living room, and they don't have to turn their back on anyone when they're preparing dinner.
You're standing there, you can see all your guests right here, but my recollection is that you guys have got a sink in your island, right? Because the cooktop is on the outside wall?
That's right. We didn't want to have the hood be the focal point of the house.
Yeah, well, you've got a stove in the island. You've got to commit to the hood, right?
That's right. Something else that we love in this house are the cabinets. We really like the shaker style white doors.
Crisp, clean line, light colored doors, so you're going with that look?
Yes.
And then how about the ceiling? This house has got wood on the ceiling. Are you guys doing wood in the kitchen?
Not in the kitchen. We'll have a wood ceiling in the living room, and we're just going to have a little accent of wood ceiling in the bay windows. So in our house, the master is on the 3rd floor, and in this house, the master is on the 2nd floor, but I think there are a lot of similarities between the two spaces.
Well, if there are similarities, you're going to have yourself a nice bedroom. This is a great space. Lots of room, vaulted ceilings. You even got a seating corner over here. Not a lot of bedrooms have one of these. Plenty of windows, so lots of natural light, even a gas fireplace. Marcus, you designed a nice bedroom.
Hey, thanks, Kevin. Well, we think a bedroom ought to be a sanctuary, a place of peace and quiet with a lot of nice features. So for John and Sally, we're doing a lot of the same things. We're doing a high ceiling with a little bit of wood to warm it up.
Okay.
And this isn't an architectural detail, but I love the neutral linen curtains, and I think that they add to that feeling that Marcus was talking about.
You love this house, don't you?
I do.
All right. And it's even got a 3rd floor?
Yep.
And Sally, one detail of this house that we're recreating for you is a big skylight over the 3rd floor. It really brings a lot of light and brightness down to the 2nd floor, which typically in a house like this is really dark. This is a new home office, and it connects to a really great deck.
Kevin, you know how much I like a roof deck.
You love the roof deck on your house, right?
We do, and that was one of the things we had liked about this house when we saw it.
Yeah. And so here you are, you're in the house that got away after today's tour. I mean, what are you thinking? Any regrets?
No, the people who bought the house are so nice. We're excited we're going to be neighbors with them, and it gives us the chance to start fresh,
right?
Which is great, and we're going to get to work with Marcus and with you guys.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes things just work out for the best. And Marcus, after today's tour, I've got a much better sense of where our project's going, so thanks for showing us around.
That's great.
All right. Well, and with that, we are ready to start rebuilding our project. So until next time, I'm Kevin O'Connor for This Old House. Coming up next time on This Old House.
Today, we'll start putting our house back together piece by piece.
Jack it up, nice and slow.
Okay, Jack's working pretty hard now.
You can see all the way back to the back of the house.
Right, and now the 2nd floor is nice and flat.
Now what we're going to use is a rigid foam panel.
Nice, okay.
It actually has these plastic pieces every 16 inches to screw your finishes to.
Pretty slick system.
That's next time on This Old House.